Hi everyone, welcome back to the Peacefield Farm YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing some chipping with the chipper and some splitting with the splitter. As you can see, I got a head start on you here. A pile of chips in front of my BX42S chipper from Titan Attachments. I have her hooked up to the tractor already. I'm going to start the tractor. I'm going to set the RPMs on the tractor up to the proper level to be running the PTO. And we're going to chip some branches. These branches are softwood, they're popple from a tree that I had to cut down because it was leaning too close into my pole barn. I'm going to be using the Black & Decker electric battery powered chainsaw to trim up some of these branches before I put them in the chipper. This particular branch here has a there's a branch coming out of the main part which is at kind of a large angle, so it has a hard time getting down into the chute. If you just try and jam it in there, it's going to get wedged in and you're not going to get it chipped up. So I find it's much easier to cut those weird limbs off before chipping rather than trying to deal with them once you've got the branch stuck inside the chipper. I cut these branches maybe a month or so ago, so I intentionally just set them aside. They tend to chip better when they're not fresh, because if they're real fresh, especially the smaller pieces of wood will, instead of being chipped, they kind of wind themselves around the big chipping wheel, and then before you know what's going on, you've got the thing clogged up already. So if the branches sit for a little while, they get a little more brittle and they go through the chipper much easier. You can buy a chipper that has a self-feeding device on it. You have to spend another $1,000 or so more on it. This chipper does not have a self-feed, but really, at least for my purposes, I don't really think I could justify that expense. As you watch me put these branches into the chipper, especially the larger ones, they tend to feed themselves. Just the power of gravity gets them down into the cutting wheel, and they get chipped up no problem. So what am I going to do with all these chips now? Well, there's lots of things you can do with them. If you do a Google search, you'll find 1,000 different things you can do with wood chips. Anywhere from just putting them into your garden or putting them on trails. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to get that pile of chips into my bucket, and I'm going to put them on one of the trails that we have here. We have 32 acres here, so we have been, over the years, we have been developing kind of a trail system. Just for going outside, walking, and taking the dog out for a walk. So we're going to spread these chips out on the trail, and hope for the best as far as how fast they degrade and what happens when they get wet and stuff like that. We're tending to put them into lower areas of the trails, so hopefully the trails will stay a little bit less mud-free. In the next part of the video coming up here soon, we're going to switch from chipping up branches to splitting some decent sized firewood into smaller pieces. And we're going to use the very strangely engineered and built wood splitter that I acquired several years ago and have been working on ever since. There's a bit of a hole in front of the bucket that you can't see, and so one edge of the bucket is kind of down in that hole. So rather than just try and push the bucket into the pile of chips, I'm trying to move the chips into the bucket so I don't dig up a whole big patch of ground there. I've already dumped the chips onto the trail here. This is the trail I was telling you about earlier in the video. And I'm attempting to smooth them out a little bit by back dragging them with the bucket on the tractor. This is my wood splitter. I don't know who made it. I bought it a couple years ago from a friend of mine. Had to do some work to it, but it works okay now. You can see the tires there are donut tires, and they are just barely attached to the frame. It's really a weird setup. It's also very loud. It's got a 5-horse Briggs & Stratton on it. I had to put a new detent valve on it here this summer, but she's working pretty good now. It starts really hard though. What I have to do is, with this little pipette here, I grab some gasoline out of the tank and I squirt it down into a little hole in the air cleaner, and that's the only way she'll start. I've yanked on this thing 1,000 times, but if I squirt a little gas in there, she starts right up second or third pull. Anyway, we're going to do a little splitting today, and that'll wrap up today's video. I first ran into the log ox on GP Outdoors YouTube channel. The log ox is a great tool for me for lifting rounds onto the splitter because you don't have to bend over. And at my advanced age, the log ox is really a big help with my back. I can't lift like I used to, but with the log ox, it's all your arms and your back stays straight. And bending over all the time used to really be an issue. I couldn't do it for very long before I would start to seize up a little bit. But the log ox solved that problem for me. It's a great tool. Highly recommend it. I'll put a link to the log ox website in the description for this video.